All right, guys, welcome back to World War Whiskey. We have a special St. Patrick's Day Caskmate Jameson competition, head-to-head, Stout edition versus the IPA edition. Now, by the time you're watching this, I know it's probably past St. Patrick's Day. You've probably already been locked down under quarantine because of the coronavirus. But we're going to try to have the best time we can. Drink a little Guinness here later tonight. But we're going to do some whiskeys here because you should be especially concerned, or some are, with the coronavirus. But I will just give you this tad bit of advice, and that is the old Irish proverb which says, that which whiskey will not cure, there is no cure. So I recommend drinking some whiskey, staying warm and inside, and don't worry about this coronavirus frenzy out there. Drink some good whiskey, you'll be just fine. All right, there's my medical and professional advice for you guys. But let's get into these two whiskeys. They're both Irish whiskeys made by Jameson, as you know. They're both 40%. And if you're like me, I've seen these around for a while, and it took me a while to really bite and buy them. When I bought the Stout edition. I was very pleased, very pleased. The IPA one I just picked up. I haven't had it, but I said, hey, I want to do this test, and I want to see which one is truly better. Now, when we compare these two, you're obviously comparing a Stout to an IPA, so there might be a little bit of bias there depending on which you prefer. But we're just going to try to rank them not based off of necessarily flavor profile, but which is just a better whiskey, or which is a truer whiskey for whiskey drinkers. So this one was the first one. The Stout edition here started in 2013. And the story goes that the guy from Jameson is going out to the bar with a local brewer. And the local brewer is trying to get him to drink so he could kind of get some barrels off of him. So get the guy from Jameson to lend him some barrels to do a whiskey beer in. Okay, a whiskey stout, barrel-aged stouts. We love them. They're great, right? If you drink beer. Now, apparently it worked. The guy from Jameson gave the local brewer some barrels for him to age his stout whiskey in. And let's pour this while we talk here. So he gave him the barrels. He ages the beer for about 6 months. Unfortunately, those barrels are not cheap. He had to give them back to Jameson. But what occurred is, as he was returning them, nice dark color there. You're trying to see some of that stout coloration. Back to the story. What happened is that they had the idea of, why don't we try to age the whiskey back in the barrels that just had the stout in it? Because obviously all that wood, the flavors absorb in and out, and you know, you barrel age stuff, you're going to pick up nuances and flavors the longer it ages. So they tried it. No one had ever tried it before. We're going to open this one here for the first time. Or maybe people had tried it before, but nobody ever tried it commercially before. And to my knowledge, no one ever tried it before, you know. And it's kind of weird, because you're like, how can no one ever think of this? It's so good, right? But like in anything, tradition and rules and just ways of doing things tend to run the day. They both have a nice color, and this one almost looks like an IPA, but IPAs kind of look similar to whiskey. Slight color variation here, but not a whole lot. But they tried it, and it was a hit. Everybody loved it. The guys from Jameson would taste it every few months, and then after a while, they decided this is kind of a good profile, and they sold it. So then they had the idea of, it works so well with the stout, why don't we try the IPA? So this is a fairly recent advancement, if you will, in the world of whiskey. This hasn't really been, as I said, done before, at least commercially, and sold and popularized. So, since 6-7 years ago, they started making this one, and then this one afterwards. So you really have something that's probably really only been popular for about 5 years, if that. I mean, I've only seen these probably the last 3 to 4, so it takes a while for them to catch on and grow commercially, and for there to be a demand. But let's get into the taste. So we'll start off with the stout, because if if you know about drinking beer, when you go to hops, kind of changes your palate a little bit. If it is real hoppy, I'm not sure if it is. So if you're gonna drink, end with the IPA rather than start with it, because if you start with an IPA, it's gonna just overwhelm everything else you taste, and it will seem rather bland. Although the stout is probably the one thing that can kind of match it, since it's kind of a different flavor profile than other type of beers. But let's get into this taste. So it definitely smells good. So it definitely smells like Jameson. Not a whole different, you know. I'm picking up a little slight traces here of maybe some little bit of nut, but nothing strong. Just tastes like smells like a good whiskey. Let's see what it tastes like. As I said, I have had this before, but it's been months, maybe a year since I've had this. So it is coming on different than I remember it. I remember it a lot softer and a lot more mellow. In fact, I'm gonna add a little bit of water here just to see if it changes it for me. Let's go ahead and add some water to this one as well. Probably should have tasted it first to see if it did change it, but we'll see on this one. Yeah, wow, gosh. I think the first time I had that was with ice, and the water just mellowed it out. And that's weird, because you saw, I mean, those were like a drop or two from my fingers. Not a whole lot. It just takes down that alcohol burn. So it had a little bit of an alcohol burn at first, but the water kind of just smooths it out and gives it that nice chocolatey stout kind of finish. If you drink stouts, you know what I mean. Yeah, so a little bit of hops, not a lot. More chocolate coffee notes in there, but at the end of the day, it tastes like Jameson, just with, you know, aged in a stout barrel. I really think that's the best way to describe it. It just has a few nuances of maybe some nut or oak or chocolate going on in there, but nothing overwhelming. Nothing, as we'll do later, the Jameson cold brew, which I just tried today. That one is overwhelming with coffee, but we'll get to that when we do another episode. Let's do one more. Yeah, I mean, almost coffee-ish. Almost it could be little elements of tea almost. I don't know why. If you like that little flavor of tea going on, but not strong. But again, just kind of pick up that soft, mellow kind of. Coffee has more of a bitter. This doesn't taste real bitter, but more of a, you know, like a green tea or something. All right, let's get to the Caskmates. Wow, now this one smells different. This one has a whole lot more going on. As far as you pick up some citrus, a little bit of grapefruit, even a little bit of oaky, woody, I don't want to say nutty smell, but yeah, a little bit of nutty smell. But it's good. This smells better than this. I mean, I would make this into a cologne and wear it. So let's see how it tastes. Wow, I am surprised. I am surprised because I am a stout guy over an IPA guy. I appreciate all kinds of beers. I appreciate all kinds of alcohol, okay? A connoisseur at heart. I like trying different things. But if you're going to give me a good stout, I'm going to take that any day over an IPA. But this was impressive in the whiskey. It does change. There's an initial flavor, and then there's kind of a after flavor. So there's definitely that barley, that hops, pick up definitely citrusy tones from the IPA. Do I taste that nuttiness? I don't know. A little bit of herbal spice going on there. But this is going to be tough. I really did think I was going to come in here and probably like the Stout edition better than the IPA edition. But I don't think I do. We got to make sure. So we're going to end this here. We're going to give you a winner for sure, but I got to do one more test. But before I do, I'll say this. If you're looking for something that's more traditional whiskey with just a little bit of pizzazz to it, if you like Jameson, this is your guy. We'll have to do it head to head, but I would probably pick this over regular Jameson, just from my initial taste there. It tastes very similar, but it has again a little more flavor going on there, and the Stout flavoring softens it out. It's not a harsh whiskey, which Irish whiskey doesn't tend to be real harsh anyway. But to me, they should have been doing this all along. This is good. Just smooth, mellow, sit back, relax, and enjoy the evening. Have that with a Stout if you're drinking it. Great on St. Patrick's Day with a Guinness, with a steak dinner, with any type of bread. I would say, like if I'm eating some bread and butter, kind of with my dinner. Maybe not with the pasta. That doesn't really. It's not really doing it for me with the pasta. But if I'm gonna drink a dinner whiskey, this one is good. It would kind of take the place of Scotch for me, if you will, and what it brings about and kind of that tone or mood it sets for you. Exceptional. I really, really like it. Really impressed. And it gets better the more I drink it. Definitely tastes a little bit more of that chocolate coffee flavor also the more I drink it. But not overwhelming. Not an overwhelming coffee. Just those kind of soft notes like you taste in a Guinness or another Stout that ages it with the coffee or nuts or whatnot. So just very predictable, I think, of what you'd expect. This one the IPA is not what I expect. It's not a very predictable profile, but it has tons of flavor. All right, we got to wash the palate, make sure, because this one just got better the second time around. Let's see if this one stays as good as it was. Yeah, they're both really, really, really good. And that, I don't say that lightly because I've had a lot of good stuff, but these are just for the buck, right? I mean, this is a larger bottle, but picked it up for like around $30. This one I got on sale for $21. They're usually more. They're usually $28, I think, but on sale for St. Patrick's Day. So, if I got the smaller bottle here, and this is a larger bottle, correct? Just got to make sure here, 750 milliliters. Yeah, this is 1 liter. So it didn't look double the size. That's why I had to double check. But yeah, so this is a liter, 750 milliliters. But I think you can get this one for 25 for the 750 milliliter. Maybe not. Maybe I think I saw it on sale for that. But you're gonna get these under $30, or maybe this one for $30 if you get the bigger bottle. But it's a good deal. And for the price, these may have been the best we've done yet. These are, $21 is almost a budget whiskey. I think regular Jameson was on sale for that same price, but normally that's 25 to 30 as well. So compare it to the price of regular Jameson, and you are just getting a lot more for your money. It's hard for me to say one's better than the other because they're just vastly different. It's kind of like what's better, an IPA or a Stout. That's going to be preference. But for the sheer uniqueness and flavor that this IPA Stout brings, man, we're getting that really strong grapefruit aftertaste. but a smooth, you know, IPAs aren't always like what you call smooth, right? They're really bitter, but that has a smooth aftertaste, even though the hops and the barley and, you know, that herbal citrus flavors kick in. It's much more complex than the stout one, which is okay. You know, like I said, if you're gonna just be drinking a whiskey and enjoy the night, you might want to go with the stout. If I'm gonna do like an interesting mix, you know, I want to do using some different blends of juices or on the rocks or any type of blend. This guy right here, this is gonna spice things up and really give it an interesting flavor profile. This one, I wouldn't. I don't think it's worth mixing. I think if you're gonna mix, just use regular Jameson, or if you want to spice it up, go with this one. This one you're gonna appreciate by itself. If you mix it, I think you're gonna lose the subtle nuances of the flavor because they are a lot softer and more subtle than the IPA one, which is bam overwhelming. But for me, the way that this one, it has a great aroma, which gives you kind of one scent. You know, again, that kind of like citrus, grapefruit, a little bit of nuttiness, like I said, in the smell. You taste the hops, the barley, the strong citrus flavor, and then that lingering smoothness, just that green barley, just smoothness takes over. And so for me, it's just, that was delightful in every aspect. The smell, the taste, the aftertaste. You know, this one, the IPA one, really impressed me and surprised me. I was not expecting that for $21. But again, if you don't like this, if you don't want citrus flavor in your whiskey, which a lot of people might not, go with this one. I would say this one's probably safer because it's more Jameson. It's more traditional. So if you're just looking for something that you want to spice it up a little bit, the Stout Edition is your guy. But for a winner here today on World War Whiskey, this IPA Edition Jameson hit it off the charts for me. That was phenomenal. So try them both out, guys. Let me see your comments. Let me know what you like. Oh, I got to give a shout out to Mitch Peace for this shirt from Ireland. I appreciate it, brother. Thanks for watching our show and being a friend of whiskey and beer and sending me good stuff. Again, whatever you guys want to see on this show head to head, go ahead and put that in the comments. We'll try and make it happen. I got a lot of whiskey lined up for you, but we'll try and make the ones you see happen. So until next week, stay safe, stay away from the coronavirus, and make sure that whiskey is being drank, maybe inhaling it, because the alcohol molecules will kill the virus. And we'll see you next time, all right?